Like many developers, I didn't know what sustainability was. I had an idea, but I couldn't have given you a definition if I tried.
The roofs are a large area of our urban centres, and it's time to engage them for something.
This kitchen has followed very stringent environmental standards. Where possible, we've bought local.
Welcome to the Sustainable Region. I'm Kaljit Kayla, and today I'm visiting Richmond City Hall. In today's show, we'll be taking a look at green buildings, and forecasts indicate more builders should be doing the same. The construction and operation of buildings consumes about a third of the world's energy consumption and 40% of mined resources. We all know about worldwide population increases. Well, couple that with improvements in the third world, and this consumption rate is going to increase dramatically. Our first story takes a look at a high-rise in North Vancouver that is reducing its environmental footprint.
The Silva started when I optioned the piece of property that we're standing on. And as a developer always does, I walked down to the City Hall and I went up to the planning counter and asked to talk to the planner and find out what I could do.
His idea was to do a development that would be rather innovative. It would transfer density from 3 different sites to his site, so we knew it would be an ambitious rezoning project. It's a high-density location, so we knew we'd be talking about building heights of up to 180 feet. And we have a sustainable development guideline package that we've created. And the idea really is to challenge developers to consider what they can do that would benefit the community from a social, economic, and environmental perspective.
Like many developers, this is a few years ago, I didn't know what sustainability was. I had an idea, but I couldn't have given you a definition if I tried. So I went back to my office and phoned some people and said, what the heck are these guys talking about? And dug into it and learned about it and found out what was going on in the rest of North America and the rest of the world, and saw that there was a great deal of value in sustainable development.
Development relates to sustainability in a variety of ways. The first is density and proximity to things, which affects transportation demand. Construction impacts the environment in terms of the waste of materials, the energy that's consumed. And then in the long term, there's the ongoing environmental impacts of those developments. If we can grow in a more focused manner, we can accommodate the growth. We can do it in a way that creates more vibrant communities, they'll be healthy communities, and they'll have less environmental impact than the trend line that the region would otherwise be on.
Building a sustainable building was part of our promise to the City Council and with our zoning. And it was to be on a best efforts basis, but we needed a framework that was widely distributed, that people were beginning to understand and was credible. So that's how we ended up in the LEED system.
LEED is a building rating system that stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It's a tool or a guideline that designers like architects, builders can use to design and construct a building. So it guides that kind of design. But it also does, at the end, once the building is constructed, allows to assess to what level of performance the building has been designed to.
One of the components of the LEED program is healthy indoor living. So we select all the carpets, the paints, all the finishes, the caulkings, everything that goes into it. It doesn't off-gas. You know, the new car smell is very bad for you. In fact, Toyota, the largest manufacturer in the world, has a program to remove the new car smell from new cars because it's highly toxic. So we did some extremely sophisticated air tests on completion, which was part of our LEED certification, to say, you know, what is in the air, and there was nothing. Like there was nothing. You walk into your apartment and it doesn't smell of anything because there's no nasty stuff in there.
It's a funny thing in sustainability. These are impacts that you don't necessarily see, but you can come to understand. So for example, we know their water consumption is substantially lower than water consumption for a comparable building across the street. We know that they've got less stormwater going into our stormwater system.
our goal was to reduce the stormwater output by 20% and to reduce the peak stormwater output as well. So we have a green roof that's all very carefully engineered, and it does, all the components do different things, but basically it retains water and for re-evaporation through the plants and through the soil, and it also slows down the flow of water into the sewer. We ended up just designing a very simple system, zoning the parkade with occupancy sensors, and I think it was into 4 zones. So when a car moves or a person moves, the lights go on, and then after 15 or 20 minutes they go off. So there's enormous energy savings. I think the payback was 6 months. So then you start to think, and something as basic as that, you go, well, why would we ever do it any other way?
A lot of sustainability factors are factors which are really difficult to see, and it's part of the problem, people discounting the future. You may not see the results of this for 10 or 20 or 30 years, but over the life of the building, there will be significant environmental benefits.
We tracked our costs very carefully to see what kind of premiums we actually realized on this project, and we found that on this project the premium was between 1% and 2%. So it was really a very small premium. And in the picture of the whole project, there was a marketing advantage for sure. And we probably we're neutral on the whole cost equation over just a very conventional building.
Well, I think the Silva's been a very successful project, and it's had a considerable impact. This was the first residential high-rise to be certified in Canada. There were only a few points short of getting silver, which would have been an even greater accomplishment. But getting LEED certified here was a fantastic accomplishment.
We know what the technology is, we know how to do it. We have to overcome the perceived and the actual market barriers in making it happen.
I think the excuses are gone, because we can do it without paying a premium. It was 3 years since this building was conceived, and the change has been enormous in the community. And if you look at in Canada, the growth in sustainable development is huge. In the United States, it's unbelievable, the commitment of enormous institutions and companies who are demanding sustainable development in their facilities and offices and so on. And so it's definitely, it's really an unstoppable thing, and the sooner we get on with it, the better.
Enter the Sustainable Region's Home Sustainability Challenge. Tell us what you are doing to make your home more sustainable, and you will be entered into a draw to win this home sustainability kit. The kit includes low-flow shower heads, a thermostat timer, energy saver light bulbs, and much more. Call us now at 604-436-6794 or email us at sustainableregion@gvrd.bc.ca to enter. Welcome back to the Sustainable Region and our look at green building innovations in Greater Vancouver. I'm at Richmond City Hall, and this might look like our park area, but it's actually the roof of a parkade. In our next story, we go to the top to look at eco-green roofs.
Welcome to BCIT, to the Great Northern Way campus, and to the Green Roof Research Facility. It's from here that we started our endeavors to collect performance data and to help forward green roofs in our region.
Today is one of the monthly open houses that the BCIT Green Roof Research Facility does to sort of showcase the green roof research that's going on here in the Lower Mainland.
The roofs are a large area of our urban centers. 25 to 30% is rooftop, and it's time to engage them for something. We either engage them for the environmental solutions of stormwater runoff, mitigating the storm runoff, or reducing the urban heat island, or if it has to be, it's rainwater collection. But do something with the rooftops, and we believe that green roofs is a good place to start.
Many landscape architects and architects had been using this for years, but it never really called it green roofs per se, and it certainly was not done for environmental reasons, and that is really the big shift.
I built the green roof 4 years ago in the spring of 2002 as a demonstration. I wanted to try out the new technology. What I've created here are 15 different plots. What I started with is a bunch of little plugs, little sedum plugs, grass seed, and planted it out, and it's kind of like chia pet. All you do is add water and it greens up. This is black pumice. It's the primary mineral substance in the green roof mix. It is loose and crumbly. It does stay together very nicely. The plants love it. They grow very quickly in the black pumice. It's to replicate the soil native to the coastal bluffs, but at half the weight.
What happens on a regular roof with all the solar radiation, the temperature on this roof can get up into the 60 degrees Celsius inside that roof system. Every 24 hours it gets hot, it cools, hot and cool, hot and cool. Heat is what degrades the integrity of a membrane system. Underneath the green roof, those temperatures didn't fluctuate at any time of the year. At the most extreme was about 5 degrees. This is what changes into dollars or cost savings on energy.
A green roof is a really great way of absorbing a portion of the water that's hitting that site. A modest green roof, let's say between 3 and 6 inches, can retain that stormwater event. And you're going to delay water rushing into the stormwater system, and that's going to offset stormwater overflows.
The roof is like a sponge. It has a membrane designed to be like a sponge, but it soaks up the water, releases it slowly to the atmosphere.
So this is a typical rainfall occurring, and this is how it runs off the regular roof or any of those other impervious surfaces that are out there. But this is how it comes off a green roof, and it emulates quite simply how it occurs as well in a natural condition in the forests and in the meadows.
There will soon be certified green roof installers. And these are specialists. They may have a landscape background, they may have a roofing background. If I was to do this today with an outside contractor, I'd probably budget $8 to $10 a square foot.
Technique to advance green roofs.
More and more people are coming to these types of events and asking the questions. I think it's great. I mean, I really like to see that.
The green roof replaces the green space lost. The squirrels have been very active with their nuts. We have butterflies, bees, little creepy crawlers up here, and they attract lots of songbirds.
We're also
Having been involved with it for so long and everything going, oh, everything's moving so slowly, we really should just be doing this. Hopefully the research that's coming out of the facility will really help facilitate the adoption of green roofs. Welcome back to the Sustainable Region and our look at efforts to build green. Are you in the middle of home renovations or thinking about starting? Statistics indicate you will likely say yes. Well, here's your chance to make some progressive choices. Keep in mind low VOC paint, water-based finishes for wood, and formaldehyde-free wood materials. And that's just a start. In our next story, you can learn about more sustainable choices available to home renovators.
1,300 square feet is quite small. So we looked at different alternatives. We looked at selling and trading up. We looked at knocking it down and starting again. And the only really sensible solution to us, given financial constraints and realities, was to look at trying to optimize the space that we have. It's wonderful to have a house that has a story attached to it. For example, the floor, it's salvaged fir from the old White Pine sawmill in Vancouver, which was a fixture 50 to 100 years ago and really sort of was part of what Vancouver City was all about. This kitchen has followed very stringent environmental standards. Where possible, we've bought local. The stone on the granite countertops is from BC. And we honestly believe that it's important to buy BC products, to keep jobs in BC, and to make sure that when we are making an impact on the environment, that we know and understand what that means. The drawers and the cabinetry are all made out of agrifiber, which is it's a waste product from the agricultural industry. It's essentially straw board. The melamines and the veneers have been cold pressed with PVA glue, which have no or very little chemicals. It doesn't have that very strong chemical smell, which is much healthier for us.
Most of them were selected because they're locally available. That saves on transport and fuel costs, so it's an environmental choice just to buy locally. But some were a little awkward. The straw board was easy to find. Finding the cabinet maker who could produce and deliver and was interested in the project using that particular material might have been a little bit more challenging.
Most of the eco-friendly products that we've tried to sell have been very ineffective. Environmentally friendly meant not very effective. We are starting to see some products now which are both environmentally friendly and effective. One of our success stories has been a very environmentally friendly water-based paint, not latex. It's made with clay, and there's virtually no volatile organic compounds in this particular paint. And we are seeing people come to us because of that fact.
We have a website that's Build Smart, and you can reach it at buildsmart.ca. It will show you the kind of products that's suitable for use and to improve the energy savings, the quality of the air within the house. You will find paint that's less harmful. You will learn a lot about how to be selective in the products you use.
When you're building green, what you're doing is you're investing in your home. Consider it more like your RSP. You invest and then you have a return on that investment. It encourages you to think a little differently about your purchase decisions.
This will enhance the sustainability of the whole region because we will be using less water, less waste generated, better indoor health environment.
This garden was originally a plain, conventional lawn with a picket fence. So what we did was we retained the excavated fill from the renovation, and we created natural berms and swales to capture the rainwater on the site. And what we've also done is made it very porous so that the pathway and the landscaping absorbs the stormwater and allows it to stay here. The first thing to know is not to be afraid that it's going to look different, and not to be afraid of the fact that it might not work well. Take heart in the fact that there is knowledge here that can help you. This is an incremental process. Renovation happens on an ongoing basis. So every time you need to fix something, every time you need to replace something, think about it. Think about what it is that you have to do to make it a little bit better, a little bit healthier, a little bit better in terms of the environment.
So tempting. The kitchen sink is right there and it's only a little grease. But before you dump it down the drain, take a look at this. Now that's just nasty. Every year, the GVRD spends about $800,000 on labor and equipment just to keep our sewer system free of grease buildup. But there is an easy way you can deal with your leftover grease from cooking. Just pour it into an empty milk carton, and then that can go into the garbage. We need to think about what goes down the drain because it all ends up somewhere. And you don't want me to show you that video.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region and our look at green building innovations in Greater Vancouver. Perhaps no industry changes faster than that of home electronics. No sooner do you buy a computer than it seems like it's obsolete. It takes 1.8 tons of raw material to create an average PC and monitor with a 2 to 3 year replacement cycle. So it comes as no surprise that PCs are piling up in our landfills at an appalling rate. Next up, we take a look at e-waste in Greater Vancouver.
We've got lead, we've got mercury, cadmium, brominated fire retardants, all of these things that we're dumping into the landfill space, which of course contaminate the groundwater, the soil, the air, our environment completely. The material hits the bench, we take off the outer casings, it's sorted into receiving bins, and that goes to our baler. The cathode ray tubes are set aside because that material we handle in a separate manner. The rest of the materials are taken down to their individual components. So we're going to pull the RAM out of it, we're going to pull the circuit boards out of it, and there may be a motherboard, there may be a light board in there. All of these components are then sorted into the various types of components. We look at that component and decide whether there's a resale value of that. And they are sold by the pound.
That right there is a 2,000 pound bale.
We call ourselves a cradle-to-cradle industry because we take materials, we process them 100%, we recycle them 100%, so they go back into the industry as new materials. So the process is one that's a continuing one.
I can't see us being in a lab like we have right now without computers for schools, because the hardware being supplied is just, it enables us to do what we're doing.
Our computers come from a variety of sources, including the federal government, various corporations, small businesses, and individuals. The purpose is just to increase the amount of computers in schools. Keyboarding, webpage, yearbook, you know, they have no end of uses in a school setting. The overall impact is to reduce the amount of equipment going into landfill, but realistically, we're just delaying it, because at some point that computer will be obsolete, it will be dead wood, and it will have to be disposed of somehow.
Traditionally, waste is managed by governments and paid for by taxpayers for garbage and recycling collection. Product stewardship shifts that responsibility to the producers, the manufacturers, and the sellers of a product. They become responsible for designing the recycling and disposal programs for those products, and they also finance those products. That means that the industry would design the collection infrastructure and pay for it. And that would likely be a network of depots. It would be difficult to collect electronics in the blue box system because they're so bulky, they could break, they would take up so much room, and it wouldn't be economical to do so. It's the provincial government, the province, that has the jurisdiction to require manufacturers to develop stewardship programs for their electronic products. So what the GVRD board has requested was for the province to extend its legislation to require the manufacturers to develop those stewardship programs. On October 18th, the Ministry of Environment announced its intention to extend the legislation. We anticipate that a stewardship program could be in place in 2007. In the last 5 years, we've seen that electronic waste has more than tripled. And we also know from our studies that residents in the GVRD on average dispose of about 20 pounds of computer and television waste in the last year. It's one of the fastest growing waste streams in the GVRD.
I think the impact directly of keeping electronics out of the landfill and having that legislated out of landfills is going to obviously increase the cost of that. Now, whether that's a hidden fee or an added on fee, an environmental fee such as we have for paint and tires and all those good things, that's really a decision that the brand owners will make when the legislation comes down.
A final point to consider about green buildings is the price. It's true, currently green items cost more than others on the shelves, but if you think long term, the picture changes. Besides, your children will thank you. We would like to hear your comments on this show. You can call us at 604-436-6794 or email us at sustainableregion@gvrd.bc.ca. I'm Kaljit Kayla, and we'll see you next time on The Sustainable Region.